Excellent. Listen, guys, thank you so much for coming today to have a chat to us about your training, I guess. So you're coming in as ST now. I'm ST4 myself, so this is fairly recent for me. It's lovely to come through the application process and have this being the last big step on your journey to becoming a consultant. And it's just wonderful to have you with us. I'm conscious as well that we often get a lot of people coming to these talks who are interested in ST training and even people who are interested in other routes towards completing their specialty training in other capacities in terms of CSER and things like that. So we often get lots of questions and comments from a variety of different people about those things. So please populate the chat and the question functions with anything that you can think of that you want answered, because we've got a sort of a good panel of people today who will be able to either answer them for you or at least take them forward and get them answered properly in the future. So my name is Chris Walsh. I'm the chair of the Psychiatric Trainees Committee in the UK. So effectively, we have about 6,000 psychiatry trainees in the UK, and we have about 40 to 50 reps on our committee that I chair at the moment. And you can meet those reps or meet me and the other two executive officers by scanning those QR codes. And you can have a look at this presentation at the end, and it'll be available to are in charge of putting these things together, and some of whom you'll hear speaking today, are really interested in innovation and making the way we learn and the way we're assessed fit for purpose with the evolution of our specialty, and it's very exciting to be involved in all of that. So whenever we're thinking about the actual content of training, we've done a lot of research as the Psychiatric Trainees Committee and into this, and we have been able to gather that what trainees find important is that they want to have good clinical knowledge, that it's set within a formulation model, so looking at things like biopsychosocial models and formulation-driven diagnoses, as opposed to sort of just looking at traditional diagnostic manuals. But obviously those are important, as are the evidence base, that it's culturally competent in the context of the cultures that exist in the patients we serve, that the communication skills, interdisciplinary collaboration, and the wider skills outside of the direct patient contact work in terms of further development of the evidence base, education, leadership, and management are all important, and that's evidenced by what's expected of people as they ascend through the steps and ARCPs of their specialist training. And in terms of the actual the process of it, the things that we have found to be important and the things that we're involved with the college in delivering are to do with the curriculum, so that being reflective of what we actually need to be able to progress to become consultants, because that's the fundamental function of higher training. We need to be guided on learning materials, and we need to have a direction that is reflective of our learning needs in terms of how we develop our knowledge and put it into practice. That there's this a series of non-examination assessment methods, so workplace-based assessments and other assessment tools that are easily accessible, that are representative of what we need to know, and they actually offer a good cross-sectional assessment of what is needed for us to demonstrate progression. And we need to have availability of resources to develop the non-clinical skills, things like leadership and management and education, and there's validity and accessibility in our exams. So across all of those things, the PTC is very involved, sitting on curricula, portfolio, examination groups and boards, and we're asked for trainee feedback on a whole host of things in relation to those. So it's really useful when higher trainees and CTs, but obviously we're all higher trainees here today, feeding back to us about things that are working and aren't working, and suggestions and ideas, and because we really do pull it all together quite carefully and put a lot of time into trying to feed these things back. In terms of our core role, aside from providing a link between the trainees and the college in terms of assimilating all this information and gathering it and We basically try to represent the trainees across the whole of the UK. So we've got 50 rep vacancies to be filled at any given point. We usually have about 40-ish trainees with about 10 vacancies at any given time, just with natural turnover, sitting about 90% of the college committees that impact trainees and would have a reflection on training needs, etc. And we just feed back bi-directionally through these committees in terms of spreading the word about new things from the committees, but also feeding back to the committees about trainee voices. Yeah, we sit on some of the more major committees in the college. So I, as the chair, sit on the council, which is the overall committee that sort of manages the college, the education and training committee, the assessment strategy review meetings. So the sort of things which are currently assessing and putting into place the infrastructure of the direction of how training is happening, and what's on the horizon in the future in terms of what we're planning and what's next for us in terms of assessments and exams and things like that. So there's been lots of things that have happened over the last couple of years, and upcoming things as well, like the CAS going back to face from September, things like that. So we are very involved in those things. Additionally, we try to just produce lots of resources and things to get involved with for trainees, and we try to have projects that we work with the college on in addition to the core essential parts of the work that I've just gone through, which help trainees. We usually have one or two key projects on the go at any given time to make things easier for trainees and their educational needs. The first thing we have is Tron. So Tron's less relevant to ST, so we'll skip past that. But certainly if you're speaking to any core trainees doing exams, there's a lot of new questions on the written papers, and Tron is reflective in a lot of ways of a lot of the stuff that's needed to be known for paper A. So it's a good tip to have. We have a major national conference every year that's for trainees by trainees that the college very generously invests money in, and we usually get other funding sources as well. We had some funding from the Welsh Government this last year in terms of putting this on, and it's a bespoke 2-day event that's exactly what trainees want at any given time. The new curriculum, which came into effect last year and a bit. It basically involves having a slightly different way of mapping activities and workplaces-based assessments prospectively via placement-specific PDPs. And then at the end of the year, not necessarily the end of the year, because they don't have to be all completed every year, but at the end of ST, you would have to be competent in order to receive your CCT in all of the high-level outcomes, so HLOs. It can sometimes be difficult to map activities to some of the more difficult HLOs. So we try to create our programs of activities with the more difficult to access HLOs so that you can evidence learning and reflection. Same thing. We have local events. This is an example of an event we had in Northern Ireland. We have had a study leave survey over the last year to try and unify approaches to study leave across the UK rather than having geographical disparity. We do a Twitter takeover. We recently just calculated how many views we've had on PTC tweets over the last 12 months, and that has been 270,000, so 250,000. We were trending on Twitter last year. So yeah, getting involved with creating networks online of like-minded people that you can be put in touch with. We have the Registrar magazine, and we're currently looking for authors for that in relation to special interest sessions. We have a whole host of other historically created key documents that can guide trainees through difficult or sort of atypical aspects of training, as well as some of the more core stuff like quality improvement and things like that. But the main thing probably to take away is we have a document called the PTC and You, and it can be accessed very easily through the college website, and it takes you through all the different aspects of the PTC and how people can get involved. And also you can contact us either through the PTC Twitter handle or emailing the PTC support address there. So yes, and I'm very, very happy to be contacted in that email address, as are the training department, with any queries, or if you'd like to get involved with what we do, please reach out. So next on our list, we have the Dean of the college, Subodh Dave, Professor Subodh Dave. Is he on the line here? I can't see him on our.
It will be a recording for
Uh,
Subodh.
I see. So you're playing the sport. Okay, we can go ahead and do that then. So this is Subodh, is the dean of the college, and a highly energetic, very physically fit, wonderfully smart man who just never runs out of enthusiasm and ideas, and always is a pleasure to speak to. So yes, we welcome via video Professor Dave.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Subodh Dave. I'm the Dean of the Royal College of Psychiatrists, and I'm sorry not to be there in person. I imagine that this is a special event for all of you, so thank you for making it here. How are you all feeling? This is the start of your journey as higher trainees. It's a really special mark, I think, when you finish your core training and now en route to becoming specialists in the field of psychiatry. So whatever subspecialty you've chosen, I'm sure it's going to be an exciting journey. So I hope that you can remember this moment and cherish it, because it's such a special moment for us, and particularly for me as a dean, as an officer of the college, to welcome you all to our little family. We are a small college. We have got about 21,000 members across the world, and it will be a great pleasure to have more of you specializing in the field that you've chosen. With this privilege, of course, comes a great responsibility. I think each day you will be seeing patients, you will be making a direct impact on the lives of your patients and carers. And that's a tremendous privilege to have. And I hope that you will cherish that responsibility as you go. But remember that, our new curricula, I think some of you may have already seen them, are very much designed at enabling you to think not just about your individual patients, but also about the communities that you care for. Because your role is not merely about providing assessments and diagnostic treatments for individual patients, but to improve the overall health outcomes of the communities that you care for and are responsible for. And I hope that you will bring to life those twin lenses that we have in our new curricula, which is providing personalized care, so that each person that you work with, each patient that you work with, you take into account their unique psychological, biological, and social context, but also think wider than that. Think about their families, think about their communities, and think about how we embed prevention in the way you work, because ultimately prevention is the best way to be sustainable, and this is a big challenge that we face as a society and as a bunch of professionals. So I wish you very well on your journey. I think there's I think the journey is, I can guarantee, will be full of ups and downs. I mean, I remember my training days. There are days when your patients achieve the outcomes that you want them to achieve. There are days when sadly they don't, and that can be dispiriting. There are days when your own professional aspirations are met, and there are days when they're not. But whatever it is, whether it's up or down, remember the college has your back. We are a family, and I want you to think of us as so, and do get in touch if there's anything we can do to support you. In your packs should be some information about the psychiatrist support service, and don't hesitate to use it. That's a free confidential service, so that we can be there for each other. I think it's absolutely important that we look after ourselves, and I think it's easy to forget that. And I urge you all to try and inject that element of looking after yourself in every day of your working life. You want to take joy and take pride in what you do, but you also want to make sure that you feel good about yourself, and then you bring your whole self into work. So I hope that you will prioritize yourself as you go through this journey of being a higher trainee and completely heading towards your CCT. And finally, I think have fun. I think as a dean, I have made it an absolute priority that we know that we do best when we have fun, and we learn best when we have fun. And so I hope that you can enjoy that, and you can enjoy today. I know that you've got a galaxy of speakers, not least our new chair and our new associate dean for curricula. So I hope that you have a good time and wish you all the very best. And I'm sure that I will meet many of you, if not all of you, in person very soon. So good luck and have a great day.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Subodh. Next we move on to Dr. Indira Vindamuri. It's a bit of a Northwest reunion today on the call. Dr. Vindamuri and Alex Till and myself all worked at the same trust at one point many years ago. We're all in good company, I think. Dr. Vindamuri is the new Associate Dean for Curriculum Assessment. And I'll not go into a lot of detail and cut into her time, but this is the part that kind of is the interesting bit in relation to the way the college really thinks through how we approach assessment and how that really accurately represents what we want to see in really good quality psychiatrists, and they give it an awful lot of thought and work incredibly hard on it. So yes, very welcome, Dr. Vindamuri.
Thank you, Chris. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. I recognize a few names, so welcome. And I'm so glad you are in the ST world. And it's only onwards and upwards from here. So I've seen a couple of things in the chat box as well in terms of opportunities, etc. Whatever you want to do, whether you want an endorsement, whether you want to do special interest sessions or developmental sessions, or whether you want to take on another degree as part of special interest, it's all quite local. The college can help and support, but you need to speak to your own local TPDs, look around what's available in universities. Some places fund some of these and some places don't. So please do ask your TPD who will be the best person to guide you. So I'm here to just take people through the curricula. I'm sure lots of you have finished your core training and have seen the curriculum before and will very much be aware of what I'm saying here. If there is anybody brand new to the curriculum, then maybe they get a little bit more out of this because there are some things that some of you may have seen before. So bear with me. Next slide, please. So the curriculum was written to match up to the GMC's generic professional capabilities. And we tried to look at everything that the GMC wants everybody that's a medic to achieve and tried to emulate the same principles and make our curriculum look very similar. Next slide, please. You can have copies of the slides and the recording will be available as well. So I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but this is how we have made it look for RCPsych. There are the same 9 domains. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So each of these domains are called high-level objectives. And then next slide, please. They are further subdivided a little bit to break it down as to what capabilities people need to achieve. As you can see there, Chris did mention before that not all of these will be directly measured in your everyday practices and directly be an easy workplace-based assessment to do. And he has given you some hints as to what else could be done and how the PTC are helping people achieve loads of other things. Next slide, please. So some of the key documents that you need to be aware of are the whole curricular framework is available online. Please be aware of the silver guide. So this is a mirror to the gold guide that's available. And this is the psychiatrist version of it to answer many, many questions that you might have. It does address things about dual training. It does address issues relating to LTFTs, going out of program, etc. If ever in doubt, if there's anything that this doesn't cover, you have to be speaking to your local education providers, including your TPD and head of school. But otherwise, there is a generic email address, which is curricula@rcpsych.ac.uk, and you could be sending us queries as well, and we will get back to you. No question is too small. So if in doubt, please ask. So the curricula are all made to look very, very similar, and core, specialty, and subspecialty curricula are all available at the same place on the website. So the placement-specific PDPs are something that we have brought up with the new curriculum, and some of you may already be using this, and that allows you to map activities and evidence to HLOs. We've produced documents that show you what is looked at ARCP. So please look at the ARCP decision aids alongside end of placement expectations. So the SAC chairs, so Specialist Advisory Committee chairs, thought about what each of the STs in the various specialties, 6 specialties, could achieve at the end of their placements. And we've put in some expectations there. So you could work backwards, have a look at it first and see, what you might be expected to have achieved by the end of your ST 4, 5, 6, or 7 years. So the assessments need to be done throughout the year. Please don't leave them far too late and nearer the ARCP, because otherwise they simply won't be formative. You have to learn from them and then carry on. The Silver Guide does have a clear indication as to how many workplace-based achievements, workplace-based assessments you need to achieve in each of your placements. Next slide, please. Some more about the Silver Guide as to what exactly is there. So it tells us all about the specialties, subspecialties, Caesar and equivalence, roles and responsibilities, time out of training, etc. Next slide, please. So all the curricula have the same HLOs and themes just for ease of use, and the dual trainees will find it very easy to therefore skip from one to the other. For those of you who hopefully those of you who are starting as ST4s should all be on the new curriculum. For those of you who have looked at the old curriculum, if you wanted to have a look, apparently you can open both together on a screen and compare. Next slide, please. So we have, since the old curriculum, the number of HLOs and the number of key capabilities have been reduced significantly, so it is less bulky and easier to achieve. Next slide, please. So to think about whether or not people need to achieve all the 9 HLOs every year, there are some HLOs which can easily be considered each year. So professional skills, clinical skills, etc. You could look at them every year and you could advance every year. But something like research and scholarship or teaching as such, you might just want to take it up in one of your ST years, and that's okay too. You just need to speak to your education supervisor and or your TPD to understand how you're going to achieve all of these by the end of your ST training. Next slide, please. So placement-specific PDPs, why were they introduced? It's more to make the job sort of detail what you can actually achieve in that particular job, because each of you might be in slightly different placements and you need to be able to tailor-make your job to help you achieve your capabilities. And it is flexible because as and when the job provides opportunities for you to be able to do something more, you could go back and add to it, which is the way we have designed it. And then in the end, you could carry some HLOs to your next PDP as well. Next slide, please. There is a video available online. I'll give you the details to an online course that you can do, a short one, which will give you all the details that you need for the new curriculum and to navigate through the PSPDP. But Ross Runciman here was a trainee rep at the time. He's a consultant now, and he worked with a consultant to show what a PSPDP would look like. And you can listen to the video, have a look at it, and have a go at it yourself. Next slide, please. There will be plenty of local sessions put up by your own schools as well to take you through what's expected in each school and how you achieve them. So please make sure to get into those. Your own educational supervisors should also have regular sessions telling them what to expect and how to facilitate your achievements. So try and get through your PSPDP as early as possible. And then you can keep revising them and adding to them as you go along. Next slide, please. There are different videos to try and take you through all of these. Please make some time to have a look at those, and that becomes a bit easier then for you to do it yourself. Presumably, supervision should be the place where you have an opportunity to think through these, think about where you're up to with your PDPs and see what's achievable and what more can be achieved in the same post. Next slide, please. So this is a CT capability statement, and we've put in statements to show what CT 1, 2, 3 can achieve, and it's the same for STs. You will have it in the end of year expectation document. Next slide, please. So this is the package, the e-learning package. It doesn't take very long at all. Even for somebody brand new to it, I would suggest that you quickly go through it and you'll at least know what exists where, and you can go back and look at the videos and the information that's provided within, pages that are attached within, and any other links, etc., that are attached. At least you know where to find them. Please do go through the whole document and at least make sure you know where you can find information when you need it. Try and start your PSPDP as soon as you can and keep it consistent, and try and do your workplace-based assessments throughout your placement. Special interest sessions are in the Silver Guide referred to as protected professional development sessions, and you have 2 of those per week. Next slide, please. Your own local schools should have a list of what special interest sessions are available in your area, and please do ask to see them. There's a lot more information on the college website itself, and there is a link there. There's a link that staff have put in the chat box as well. Please do have a look, and I would highly recommend looking through the e-learning package where you might find most of your answers. Next slide, please. And that's me. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your session.
Fantastic. That was a wonderful whistle-stop tour. Thank you very much, Dr. Benjamin. So yeah, probably what we'd recommend with that is to go and do all the things that have just been suggested in terms of the e-learning and that kind of stuff, and then have a go at it. And if you're stuck or got any questions at that point, it's good to give us a bell, and we usually can iron out things and help at that point. So next we have Dr. Alex Till, who's the director of the LMFS, which is a Leadership and Management Fellowship scheme of the college, which was something that has arisen under his guidance and overseeing. Alex is a forensic psychiatrist in the Northwest, consultant. So yeah, you're very welcome, and yeah, happy days, far away.
Thanks, Chris. Cheers. Appreciate it. It's really nice to be here, and congratulations to you all for sort of starting your ST posts. The exciting bit where you really get to kind of get your hands dirty into the nitty-gritty of the thing that you've been kind of looking forward to starting for a long time. So I hope you're all enjoying it. As Chris mentioned, I'm the director of the Leadership and Management Scheme that the college have been running for probably about 5 years now. I think it started off, I guess, through really hard work through the Psychiatric Trainees Committee, which obviously Chris has spoken to you about, and I'd really encourage you to be as proactive as possible. Really is an opportunity to get, I guess, kind of get involved in making that change happen that you'd like to see. So stand for the representative roles, and then hopefully you'll be part of the committee. You never know where things are going to go, and this is one of them. So what we do is we run a scheme that's available nationally for all 4 nations, for higher trainees, so anybody between ST4 to and above. And we provide leadership training, essentially, for those that want to progress a little bit beyond kind of the normal expectations that you would be. Obviously, as all psychiatrists, we have a really important leadership role to play within the services that we lead, fundamentally. But what the leadership scheme tries to do is really show you not just kind of how you lead as an individual and how you operate within the team around you, but how you do that at an organisation and system level as well. Those are the domains that the Faculty of Medical Leadership and Management outline, and that's what our programme is based upon and that we're accredited against. The way that it works is that your, I guess, employing organisation, so the trust that you're based in your rotation for, have to support you. So there's a financial commitment of about £2,500 that the trust pay, or the health board pay. The idea of that is that they're financially investing in you, and therefore they have made that commitment to help supporting you on the journey. Because we don't just provide leadership training days at the college, which is both face-to-face and online. but the real sort of learning really involves sort of getting your hands dirty into the weeds of something and trying to deliver that beyond what you might normally have exposure to as a trainee. And that sometimes needs people within the provider to be able to kind of help you unstick things. And so that financial investment is there to make sure that they've got your back and supporting you to do it, rather than just saying, okay, that's great, you can do it, off you go, which is one of the risks if it comes, say, from your study budget, for example. We have capacity for about 30 to 45 each year. As I said, it doesn't matter what training grade you're in. The local organisation that you'll be in, so your provider, your trust, or your health board, they will be the ones that run the recruitment process. It's not impossible for us to do that centrally as a college. So your provider picks that. And really the idea is as well that you get a relationship. You feel that you can work with them, they feel that they can work with you, and that you've got sort of a mutual agreement about something that you would be delivering. The time that you would be allocated for that would largely be your special interest time. There is a bit of flexibility to use some of your study leave if you choose to do so within that. And so there is an agreement that, you know, obviously your immediate clinical supervisor would have to agree alongside your educational supervisor, your TPD, and the organisation that are sponsoring you, because part of the deal is that you get mentored by a senior medical leader in that organisation. And different organisations have all sorts of different structures, but the idea is that you have an oversight of what's happening at an organisational level, and you can tap into system connections to understand how the whole healthcare system works. The advantage of it being in your special interest time or study leave is that you don't have to take any additional time in training, so it's available for everybody, and it runs, generally speaking, sort of from a sort of August to August rotation, with the first teaching days being in September. So we have our first one for the new cohort that are starting with us on Monday, in fact. So we're really excited to meet everybody face to face in London, and then after that there are some online sessions, and then another face to face in sort of January timing, and then we have sort of the final day in June that will be face to face. As I say, there are about 10 overall that can be virtually attended, to find that balance of giving people face to face contact to build those relationships and networks, and really get that experiential learning. Versus making sure that we are accessible to people from all 4 nations, and that have all sorts of other commitments, which might mean commuting to London for all of the days a bit more complicated. As part of the programme, we provide you with membership to the Faculty of Medical Leadership and Management. As I mentioned, we're accredited by them. They are, I guess, kind of the home for medical leadership and management in the UK, and so we have a really close relationship for them. And alongside the benefits of membership that you have with them, we also provide you access to a 360. So a bit like your mini PAT would be, but specifically focusing on your leadership and management skills. So we do support you with that. And then there's a process of reflection that you can do. And ultimately, you can build up towards applying for associate fellowship of the Faculty of Medical Leadership and Management. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but the sort of is it acronym? Yeah, maybe. Postnominals is what I'm talking about. Postnominals that you get would be AF, FMLM. So you don't get that by default through doing the scheme, but we set you up in an extremely good position to be able to apply for that. And we have an arrangement where there's a discounted application fee for that at the end, to make sure that you can have something tangible alongside a really lovely, quite fancy certificate that we provide through the college for you as well. I think that's probably an oversight. I tried not to bore people with slides of what the scheme is and what it's about. I can see there have been a few questions that have popped up in the chat. Forgive me, I haven't been able to read them while I've been talking, but if there is anything and there's time, I'm very happy to take a few.
There's one question. It does say, in this fellowship similar to or on par with any other fellowships run by the local deaneries?
Thank you. So yes. So I guess there are multiple different leadership schemes out there, and I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all approach. I think there are different personal circumstances that might mean that you want to gravitate towards one rather than the other, or again, different, I guess, kind of career ambitions that might make you gravitate to one rather than the other. I think the advantage in particular that we have with the college is that you use your special interest time, so you don't need to take any extension in your training, which some do. And unlike other local schemes, we can tap into the national networks through the college. So all of our modules are run by really established senior medical leaders from right across the UK. So we have a medical chief executive who runs one of our modules. We have a medical director in one of the integrated care boards that runs one of our modules. We have other medical directors that run them, as well as, and we're really proud that we have some of our alumni from the scheme that have obviously progressed on to sort of even bigger, better things, which hopefully the scheme has enabled them to access. So they also take part in various different elements of the scheme and run modules themselves. The sessions throughout the year, so we have 10 contact days, 3 of which are face-to-face, and then the rest are online. As I say, that's trying to blend that mix of having the opportunity to all meet face-to-face in London versus making sure that we don't exclude anybody from the programme, because we're really keen to be as inclusive as possible and give everybody that opportunity. My contact deals are relatively readily available, and if anybody does want to contact us, then please do reach out. I know that the generic email address for the scheme is on there as well, and so that's another way to get in touch. Please do. Really keen to make sure that this is accessible as possible, and hopefully look forward to seeing some of you on it next year. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex, for joining us and taking the time to talk us through that. You can, if you complete the scheme and do everything Alex has done, have as gorgeous an office as he has. I'm always obsessed with how nice his office looks on Zoom. But anyway, no, thank you so much for joining us and taking us through that. So next we have another of the college's bright stars, Fiona Watson, who I can assure you from personal experience of having utilised her many gifts through the library resources, can be incredibly useful and helpful. But I'll let her explain a little bit more about what the college library can do. Welcome, Fiona. Thank you for being here.
Hiya. Hi, everyone. Always nice to start with a ringing endorsement. So I'm Fiona, as Chris said, and I'm the college librarian. And I'm just going to give you a sort of brief overview of what the college library can offer you. So hopefully some of you are already using the library, but just in case you're not. So we have the sort of old-fashioned library you might expect on the ground floor at the Prescott Street office. So we have a study space, doesn't get used much because not many members are in the building on a regular basis, but we provide a lot of services online, and we also do postal loans of books. So we'll send a book out to you for free. You're responsible for returning it. And we also accept a lot of recommendations about what books we should buy. So if there's something we don't have that you want to read, please just let me know. And usually it's fine. We can buy it and send it out to you. So it's a good way to save some money. And then as far as online services go, we provide RCPsych Open Athens accounts. These are different to your NHS accounts, and they'll give you access to different things depending on your trust. So it's well worth getting set up with one of them and just seeing if it's useful to you. I'm going to put a link in the chat at the end that you can click on and ask for an account to be set up with you. Sorry, it's terrible for reading the messages that pop up and getting totally distracted. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a quick demo of what you can access and how to access it through this. I'm going to share my screen. So easiest way to find us is just to start with Google and Google RCPsych Library. It's a little bit hidden on the website. We should pop straight up. And then you can sort of check the catalogue. We've just put up some training resources because people asked for a few more of those. But most of the resources are under Access Journals and Databases. So this is your sort of jumping off point. You can search for a specific journal or an ebook. We've got nausea prescribing guidelines, for instance, or if you're doing more detailed research, you can use databases. So we have PsycInfo, Medline, and Embase. I often say to people, if you're getting to the point of using the databases, it might be worth getting in touch with me so I can give you some training if you need a refresher on how to do systematic searching, or we do a literature searching service. So you can get in touch with me and say, I'm interested, I have a new patient, I'm interested in this, can you run me off some articles? And that can be kind of like, I just need a refresher on the topic, I want 10 articles, or it can be, I'm starting on a systematic review, I need a reminder on how to do systematic searching, can you help me put my search protocol together? And any of that is fine, we can lend a hand. We also do things like interlibrary loans, so if you can't find an article, please get in touch and let us know. I think that's probably a good sort of beginning of what we do. This is mostly just here to say, if you're running into a problem or you're starting some research, please do get in touch, the sooner the better, and get an account set up for yourself. And I'll put my contact details in the chat along with the link to sign up for an account.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fiona. Honestly, yeah, I would very much encourage people to do that and to maybe look up as well an article that myself and Fiona did in the last registrar about how the library can help out with the literature search, which and including like a software platform where you can like pick out the articles and access all of the abstracts and all that kind of stuff. And it just demystified the whole process and made it very robust. So yeah, it's definitely, these are the kind of things that are worth utilizing as part of your college membership. So yeah, thank you very much, Fiona, for being.
Thanks.
Okay, excellent. We've now got Kate Picard here. Hello, Kate. Thank you for being with us. And you're going to talk to us a bit about e-learning from a kind of trainee perspective and things like that. So you're very welcome, and I'll let you kick off when you're ready.
Great, thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So I am the e-learning development manager at the college. I'm just going to spend the next few minutes talking to you about CPD e-learning, which is the college's online learning resource for mental health professionals. So the main user group of CPD e-learning is consultant psychiatrists, usually based in the UK, as each resource offers CPD points. But we do also have a range of subscribers from trainees, GPs, mental health nurses and psychiatrists who work outside the UK as well. Excuse me. So the content offers focused learning for key topics in the field. We're always publishing new content as well to expand our offering and cover any new sort of topics that have become popular in more recent times. So each of the resources is kept up to date. We have an updates program. So every 2 years, authors are required to review and update their module where necessary. If they're unable to do this, we look for new authors that are also in the same field, who know the topic. And eventually, if we cannot get the module updated, it'll be retired after 5 years, or if it's still a highly demanded topic, obviously we would do our best to keep it going and have replacement reviewers on board. So we've currently got over 200 modules and 170 podcasts. They're all included with the CPD subscription. And we've also got a small selection of content which is free to everybody. So whether you're subscribed or not, there's a certain amount of content which can be viewed for free. So in terms of usage figures, last year, 2022, we had 16,205 completions across 206 different modules, and 5,775 completions across 173 different podcasts. So lots of activity there. If you're interested in a subscription, the subscriptions are annual. Anyone registered as a member of the college is able to take advantage of the discounted subscription rate, which is currently only £83. If you'd like to do this, when you log into the site with your RCPsych login details for the first time, the system will recognise your membership status and grant you access to that discounted rate. So you don't need to do anything apart from log in with your login details. There's also the option of being included within an institutional subscription using Open Athens authentication. So it's always worth checking if your workplace or institution offers this, because that can also then save you some money. An added benefit of CPD e-learning subscription is that you're also able to subscribe to the British Association for Psychopharmacology, or BAP's online CPD resource, and that's also for a heavily discounted rate. And next slide, please. So CPD e-learning is hosted on the college's e-learning hub. So you can see the homepage on the slide there on the left of the screen. As mentioned before, all you have to do is log into the hub and the system will automatically recognise your status and assign you the correct subscription rate and the correct content that you're able to see under your subscription. Once payment is made, you have instant access, so there's no having to wait around for your subscription to go through. There are some searching options, so you can search the catalogue using the tools available on the hub. You can search by type, duration, category, in CPD domain, or by keyword as well. So if you don't know a particular resource and you're looking for something on a particular topic, for example, autism, you might just type in autism into the keyword search and it will show you everything that relates to that. If you want to know what the hot topics are at the moment, we collate the top 10 modules and podcasts from the previous month, so you can easily see what the most popular resources are at present. Once you've selected a module or podcast to view, you just need to follow the steps to open the content and begin your learning. Next slide, please. Excuse me. So since moving to the e-learning hub in 2021, our modules and podcasts are built into our modern template, which is fully responsive and it's got accessibility considerations built in. You can navigate them using the menu on the left-hand side of the page, as well as via the previous and next buttons, which are located at the bottom. It doesn't matter what device you're working on. If it's a laptop, PC, mobile phone, tablet, the content will format correctly to the device's screen size and layout. You can work through the content at your own pace. Your progress is recorded as you work. So if you need to leave it at one point and come back to it later, you can pick it up where you left off without having to do anything else. Podcasts also offer playback functions, so you can pause, rewind, and fast forward as needed. So it's really user-friendly. All modules and podcasts include learning outcomes. So you've got a guide of learning towards the specific set of objectives. Modules also contain recap questions and various forms of interactions to keep you engaged as you learn. This is another benefit of moving to the new platform. So the example on the page currently that you can see is a click to reveal exercise. So for example, it's just something where we've used different sort of layout and interest to display the content. So this one has an on-off switch and you can view the associated text as you click on those buttons. Next slide, please. So both modules and podcasts include a test at the end. For most of the modules, there are 10 MCQs and 5 questions if it's a shorter 30-minute quick bite module. And for podcasts, there would be 5 MCQs so that you can test your knowledge at the end and see how well you picked up the content as you progress through. In order to gain your completion certificate, you do need to obtain 100% in the test. You can retake the test if needed. But yeah, if you want to get that certificate, you need to get the 100%. Next slide, please. Once your certificate's been generated, it's stored in the awards section of the website, and you can access this at all points. You can also save it as a PDF, and if you need to, you can print that PDF. Next slide, please. So elsewhere on the hub, we also host Trainees Online, which is also known as TRON, which you may have used earlier when you were sitting your paper A for the RCPsych exam. There's also the Congress Webinar Library and the 7 free-to-access Neptune modules on the management of harms resulting from the use of club drugs and novel psychoactive substances. There's also at the moment the Mind Your Language, Effective Communication in Clinical Practice module, which is free to access at the moment, and that's to help support with that newer aspect of the curriculum. E-learning also offers additional paid content, such as the Section 12 course and the new forthcoming certification hybrid courses, the first of which is due to launch in the new year with a focus on public mental health. Please see the events page of the RCPsych website for more information and to register your interest if that is of interest to you. Next slide, please. So along with the content itself, there's a collated list of useful resources provided by the author. And this also contains key reading, references, and also any useful websites. We also provide take-home notes, which contain all the key takeaways from the module, and you can keep those as a handy guide or a handy refresher guide. Next slide, please. So to sum up, in the e-learning hub, you'll be able to find not only the modules, podcasts, and other resources mentioned earlier, but also FAQs, subscription information and support, including the BAP link once you've subscribed. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with us. Our email address is displayed on the slide. It's elearning@rcpsych.ac.uk. And you can see we've also got a Twitter handle there if you would prefer to contact us in that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. That was very useful. I love coming to these things because even being embedded in the college, you always find something new that you recognise in these things, and there's clearly a host of very well thought out content there. And something that might be useful for trainees at this stage is to think about the foundation, about some of the new curriculum items, things to do with sustainability and things like that, and how potentially some of the resources we've got can help with that, just in terms of getting a basic kind of knowledge in terms of PSPDPs and stuff like that, and then build on it through other activities and things. So it's good to have a nose about what's available, and there's a significant amount available from what Kate's just gone through. So thank you, Kate, for joining us. Thank you for your time. We move on now to speak with Catriona Grant, who's the executive assistant to the special interest groups. And so essentially within the college, we have the faculties, but we also have a series of special interest groups about a whole host of different things, and they tend to be where a lot of the really interesting parts of the college to get involved with can sit, and we are in the process of trying to make connections between the PTC, the Psychiatric Trainees Committee, and the special interest groups in terms of having representation of trainees on all of the SIGs, but I think Catriona is talking today about the prizes that are available, because it's a really good opportunity to get involved with something specific that piques your interest, and a way to stand out in terms of getting involved with things like that. So anyway, I'll let her talk about it and not me. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, I'm going to whiz through these because I don't have long, but just to say that all the details are on the SIG web pages if I do run out of time. But as you may know, we have 15 special interest groups in the college. Again, loads of information about them online, so I won't talk about them too much now. But SIG prizes. So quite a few SIGs have current prizes that trainees can submit to. So the occupational psychiatrists have a poster prize. They launched that this year. They had an aviation psychiatry event back in July where they submitted all the entries, and the winner is going to receive free tickets to all the OPSIG events that happen next year. So the idea for this one is that trainees could submit an anonymised clinical case that they've seen, which highlights the sort of occupational aspect of that case. Yeah, specifically maybe for aviation psychiatry for this event we've just had, but there'll be possibly a different theme next year, so keep an eye out for that one. The Rainbow SIG have just launched an essay prize this year for the first time. It's in memory of Professor Michael King, who passed away recently, and he was one of the founding members of the SIG. The title for the essay prize this year is LGBTQ+ mental health, the role of the psychiatrist in reducing stigma. And the deadline to submit essays is the 31st of December. There's a cash prize of £100 and the opportunity to present at a future webinar on the topic of the essay. The Evolutionary Psychiatry SIG have an annual essay prize, the Charles Darwin Essay Prize, that's been running for a really long time. So it's a 4,000-word essay on a topic that's related to evolutionary psychiatry. The prize for that is £250 and the opportunity to do a 10-minute presentation at one of their future conferences about the topic. And also they publish the winning prize in their newsletter, which has a really wide circulation internationally as well to professionals within and beyond psychiatry. So that's a very well-established prize, and the deadline for that is going to be announced soon. They haven't actually launched that yet, but it will probably be the end of the year as well. The Spirituality SIG, they've had an essay prize for about 20 years. They're one of our oldest SIGs. Yeah, very well established prize. They are looking for essays that showcase an understanding of spirituality in relation to psychiatry and awareness of the literature on the topic, and specifically relevance to psychiatric practice and patient care. The deadline for that is always the 31st of December, sorry, and there's a £300 cash prize available for the winner of that prize. The WIMSIG, again, very well established essay prize. You can read the past essays for that on the WIMSIG web pages. The theme for the essay competition this year is lessons from matriarchs and what do we still need to learn. The deadline for that is a bit sooner. It's the 6th of October, and the winner will receive a £100 cash prize and a free ticket to their conference in December. That's a hybrid event, so it's at the college, but you can also view online. Then the digital SIG, this is our newest SIG, and unsurprisingly, being new and digital, they've got a slightly different format. They have a Pecha Kucha competition. So that's a presentation format where you have 20 slides or images and they're displayed for 20 seconds each. They just move on automatically. I think Pecha Kucha is from a Japanese word meaning chit chat. So the idea is that these slides move on automatically and it helps keep the speaker concise, keeps the presentation moving, and make sure you keep to time. So it's a certain style of presentation and quite a fun way of doing it. So we had our digital SIG conference on Monday this week, actually, where those who'd submitted Pecha Kucha proposals presented to the conference, and then the winner got announced there. So that's a really great way of showcasing your work to a really wide group of people, and to do some networking at the same time. So they're going to probably run that again next year, so keep an eye out on the web pages for that, and it will always align with the conference, because the idea is always that there'll be a presentation from trainees at their annual conference. The sport and exercise psychiatry, so they have a trainee poster prize competition that's open at the moment in the run up to their conference in November. There's a first prize of £150, second prize of £100, and third prize of £50. So the posters for that can be original research, a case study, education, training, QI, audit, or any other sport and exercise related project that trainees have been involved in. So you can submit a poster. The details about that are on our website as well. And the deadline for that is the 3rd of November, so that we can notify people who've been accepted that they can display those at the conference, and we'll announce the winner there. So the conference is on the 22nd of November, and that's at the college in London. And then the last SIG that's got prizes as the VIP SIG, that's Volunteering and International. So they're running 2 prizes at the moment. The first is an essay prize with a £200 cash prize, and the second is a video pitch prize, which is a slightly different format, and I don't think anyone else is doing that from the SIGs at the moment. So the idea is that people would submit a 2-minute video talking about their experiences of volunteering and psychiatry, or a sort of micro documentary, or an interview, or some kind of showcase of a clinical experience. There's an example that the chair, Anis, has done, which he's posted on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and things. So if you want to get an idea of what they're looking for, then he's given an example one, and there's a £100 cash prize available for that. So the deadline to submit, again, is coming up quite soon. That's the 13th of October, with the VIPSIG conference happening at the college on the 27th. So I've really whizzed through those, so hopefully that's some helpful information, but all of that is listed on our SIG web pages. And if you're not already signed up to be a member of a SIG, then you can do that by going on the Special Interest Group web page on the main college website, and then you log in, and then you can just select whichever SIGs you want to be a member of once you're logged in. So here I've just given an example where I've signed up to all of them. And if you want to get in touch with me, the SIG's email address is there on the screen. And again, yeah, there's loads of information on the website. So sorry, I've run through that really quickly, but hopefully that's helpful and relevant. And if you have any questions, just get in touch. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was great, because I think if something stood out to somebody, they would have their ears would have pricked up and everything, and they would have been able to pick it out. So, and now they know who to contact. So that's great. Thank you so much for taking us through that. So overall, we are at the end now. We are very happy to be contacted by anybody, anytime, just to say hello, but also about specific queries or problems at the PTC email address, which has just been put in the chat there by Catherine. So yeah, you're very welcome to your ST training. Be in touch, stay in touch. Yeah, thank you so much for coming today, and have a wonderful evening. Take care.